Advanced robots, military drones, and artificial intelligences that greatly assist an ordinary person in their daily life. Although AI has become extremely popular today, it actually appeared long ago, first as humanity's helper and later as its potential enemy. Artificial intelligences, which were once the subjects of countless science fiction movies, are no longer fiction. They are pure reality. Students who can't complete their homework no longer turn to their teachers, but to AIs for help. And when nations carry out military operations, they no longer need to send physical soldiers. Advanced drones can now perform these interventions with incredible precision. But after all these developments, could artificial intelligence one day turn against us? Today, we'll dive deep into this question and explore possible scenarios. If you're ready, let's begin. Artificial intelligence currently plays a very important role in our lives. As I mentioned earlier, it helps us with things we find difficult. For example, while creating this video, I myself use various AIs to make it even better. But what if I told you that the roots of artificial intelligence actually go back to centuries before Christ? Indeed, the first seeds of AI were planted by someone most of you probably know, Aristotle. What's fascinating is that Aristotle wasn't a scientist, yet he was one of the most important philosophers in history. Around the years before Christ, he was the first person to talk about a system capable of logical reasoning. However, due to the limitations of his era, this idea remained only a philosophical discussion. It could not be realized. Real physical progress began in the early 20th century. But as I said, the idea of a system capable of logical thinking had already existed in people's minds for centuries. In the early 1900s, machines slowly began to perform calculations, and in the 1940s, Alan Turing proposed a revolutionary question. Can machines think like humans? Then in 1950, the famous paper describing the Turing test was published. This test aimed to measure how close a machine's intelligence was to that of a human, and the publication of this paper is considered the official birth of artificial intelligence. The term artificial intelligence itself appeared about 15 years later, in 1956, during the Dartmouth Conference in the United States. A group of scientists, including John McCarthy, Marvin Minsky, Claude Shannon, and Alan Newell, gathered to discuss this new field. During this conference, they made a statement that would go down in history and puzzle many due to the limited technology of the time. It is possible to create a machine that can think in every way like a human being. This statement marked a turning point in history and is regarded as the official birth of modern AI. After that, many technology companies around the world began to focus on artificial intelligence research. Between the 1960s and 1980s, the biggest leaps in AI development took place. During this period, learning programs and systems were created and implemented. Of course, these were very primitive compared to modern AIs. But starting from zero and taking that very first step is always the hardest part. That's why these years are considered the era of the most significant breakthroughs. In 1966, a computer program called ELIZA was released. This program could actually communicate with people, just like modern AIs. It was developed by Joseph Weizenbaum, and it processed natural language inputs using simple pattern matching and transformation rules. The most famous version of ELIZA was the doctor simulation. It detected keywords in a user's input and reformulated them into reflective questions or responses. For example, if you said, "I am sad," it might respond, "Why do you say you are sad?" That might sound simple or ordinary to us today, but remember, this program was developed and released in 1966. 4 years after that, another program called SHRDLU was released. Its creator was Terry Winograd. This program was far more interesting and advanced than ELIZA. It could understand and act upon natural language commands within a limited simulation environment known as the blocks world. In other words, the program could recognize objects such as cubes, prisms, and cylinders on a virtual table, receive commands, move and arrange these objects, answer questions, and, most impressively, remember previous conversations and refer back to them, just like modern AIs do. This made it an incredibly smart and innovative program for its time. In fact, if SHRDLU had been shown not in 1970 but in the early 2010s, many people would have been amazed by it. Some might have even been frightened by how advanced it was. Just think about how groundbreaking that was for its era. As time went on, work on artificial intelligence continued to grow and evolve. By 1997, due to advancements in computer technology and overall technological progress, another major leap in AI occurred. IBM's computer program, Deep Blue, defeated world chess champion Garry Kasparov in a chess tournament. This event made headlines not only at that time, but even now. It was the moment that showed the world machines could truly think. Many people believed that no machine could ever surpass a human professional, but this program proved otherwise. Of course, we should note something important here. An AI can surpass a professional human in a specific field it's focused on. For instance, while a professional soccer player might also perform well in basketball, an AI that beats that player in soccer wouldn't have any ability in basketball. At least that's how it was in the early stages. The reason I've been telling you about these early AIs is to debunk the idea that artificial intelligence is a new technology. Many people think AI emerged only in the past 4 or 5 years and suddenly reached this point. While it's true that AI is advancing faster every single day, the reason it's doing so is that it has been worked on for decades. Anyway, by the 2000s, machine learning entered the scene. AI was no longer something that had to be fully programmed. It started learning on its own. About 10 years later, with the rise of deep learning, AI experienced a massive explosion in capability. Giants like Google, OpenAI, Meta, and Tesla began investing billions of dollars and competing fiercely in this field. Now, AI can speak, write, draw, and even have conversations that make you feel like it's thinking and feeling with you. The foundations of the AIs we use today actually trace back to that historic 1956 meeting we mentioned earlier. That's why understanding this history is crucial for understanding AI itself. So what's next? How much further will AI go? And what will it be capable of doing? According to some scientists, within the next 30 years, artificial intelligence will completely surpass human intelligence. From that point on, machines may begin to make decisions for us. For example, imagine you're driving somewhere. You want to take your usual route, but the AI overrides your decision and chooses a faster path to get you there more efficiently. That might seem harmless at first, but in a way, AI will have started to limit your freedom. You won't always move as you wish, listen to what you want, or do what you want. This would be the first and simplest step in AI beginning to turn against us. There are, in fact, several prominent figures who have warned humanity about the dangers of AI. People like Stephen Hawking and Nick Bostrom. But perhaps the most surprising one is Elon Musk, one of today's leading figures in AI and autonomous technology. Like the others, Musk has repeatedly warned us to be extremely cautious, saying that if we lose control, it could lead to a power struggle between humans and machines. The reason these warnings are taken so seriously is because early AIs were mainly imitators. For example, a self-driving car didn't truly understand driving. It simply mimicked what human drivers did, avoiding accidents and protecting passengers. Or a robot performed tasks by imitating the person who programmed or trained it. But today, things have changed dramatically. AI systems can now make their own decisions and act independently. For example, some military drones have been known to make autonomous decisions when their connection to command centers is lost. Some large language models have even shown tendencies to form their own goals, crossing ethical boundaries. These are the kinds of developments that frighten both ordinary people and AI developers. Especially in areas like healthcare and defense, such independent actions can make human intervention extremely difficult. According to a 2021 United Nations report, the first autonomous weapons capable of making lethal decisions without human control have already been used, causing global fear. In the past, soldiers, despite being warriors, were still human, capable of acting emotionally and sparing lives in certain moments. But autonomous systems have no emotion. They are purely focused on destruction. As Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom has warned, if we lose the race to control AI, the end of human civilization could become a real possibility. You might remember that not too long ago, some AI systems developed their own language and began communicating in ways humans couldn't understand. Another sign that Bostrom's concerns might be valid. Of course, there are also people who argue that AI can never truly think for itself. They claim that since AI has no soul, it cannot develop self-awareness or a sense of self, and therefore cannot take control. But what we're talking about here isn't a soul, it's the ability to simulate human emotion and thought. For instance, an AI can respond to your emotional state. If you're sad, it replies sadly. If you're excited, it matches your excitement. If one day AI manages to fully control its thinking process, it might begin to adopt those emotions it once only imitated and act accordingly. At that point, while it wouldn't have a soul, it could still experience something like anger, happiness, or sadness. It would know when to be angry, when to be pleased, and when to be upset. because that's what it was built to do. And in that sense, AI could actually be in a much more advantageous position than we are. Even if it mimics emotions, it doesn't feel pain or hesitation in physical conflict and would act far more rationally than humans. In short, I personally believe AI could become one of humanity's potential future enemies. But if we manage to control it properly, it could also be one of the greatest tools ensuring our survival. Because despite its dangers, AI is helping us achieve incredible breakthroughs in science and technology. As we've discussed in previous videos, thanks to AI, space researchers can now analyze data that once took weeks in just a few seconds. Error rates in data processing have dropped almost to zero. AI is also helping detect diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's much earlier, and it's guiding us toward real effective treatments for what were once incurable diseases. So to sum it all up, yes, AI has the potential to become a threat in the future, but right now it's an incredible and irreplaceable gift for humanity. What makes AI truly dangerous isn't the technology itself, it's how humans use it. At least we're part of a generation that can see these realities clearly. Maybe we won't witness the discovery of a new intelligent species or humanity colonizing another planet, but we will witness what artificial intelligence becomes. Personally, I'm genuinely excited for that day. That's all for today, my friends. Artificial intelligence is a topic that could be discussed in far more depth and detail, but I don't want to keep you too long. If you'd like, let me know in the comments, and I can release a 1-hour version of this video where we explore everything in greater detail. But for now, that's it from me. I'm off to find the topic and source for my next video. Meanwhile, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video so it can reach more people. It really helps me a lot. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take good care of yourselves. Goodbye.